and welcome once again to your regular Friday night fix of everything that goes on in the world of European drag racing and, of course, our home SantaPod Raceway. Luke Stevenson and myself, well, we got two cracking guests tonight, but first of all, let's just check in with my co-presenter. Luke, how you doing, mate? How's your week been?
Evening, Colin. I'm great. Do you know what? I've only just stopped laughing from last week's show. That was an absolute cracker. But this weekend, we've got two new guests, and it's going to be a completely different show. This week, well, you know, the weather has teased us yet again. Another week of glorious sunshine. But hey, hopefully we'll be racing it sometime soon with this weather.
Well, that would be absolutely fantastic. Then, talking about fantastic, everybody out there is saying, oh, can I have so-and-so on the show? Can I have this? Can I have that? And one of the cries that we've had is, don't forget the two-wheel brigade. Well, we certainly haven't tonight. We have got two stars of bike racing for you. One from Pro Stock Bike and one from Funny Bike. First up, Martin Bishop. He's been around quite a few years in Pro Stock Bike. I can't actually remember him riding anything else, but it's great to have him on the show. He's got a lot of outside interests as well, so hopefully we'll be able to extract that from him. So, first of all, a very good evening to Martin Bishop. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing really well, thank you, guys, and I hope you're well. It's been a bit of a testing time for everyone, but, you know, it's all good. Everyone's marching on forward now.
Good stuff. Well, we look forward to hearing some cracking stories from you. And now then, if you want somebody that I could probably categorise as a certifiable nutter, then this chap fits the bill absolutely perfectly. Yeah, it's none other than Lightning Leeks himself. Dale Leeks, how are you doing, Dale? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, I'm all good, you?
Yeah, well, we're good, actually. You don't look injured at the moment, so that's probably a good start, isn't it?
Well, with this lockdown and everything on, I can't really do a lot. So I've got no broken bones. I haven't been to hospital. It's pretty boring, to be honest.
I'll tell you what, Luke, I think this is going to be entertaining tonight once again. Can't wait for this one.
It certainly will. And, of course, we do have our colour commentator, Keith Bartlett, will be joining us to dish the dirt on the Bish. How you doing, Keith?
Good evening, guys. You're right. It was a very enjoyable show. Friday night show was excellent, as we all knew it would be. And I've got similar sort of aspirations for this show. And you're absolutely right. I know all what Dale's expectations are of things outside of drag racing. I know he's a complete nutter. But the difference is I know Bish inside out. And yes, if I have to dish the dirt on Bish, I will do it.
Well, without further ado, let's just get cracking on with the show and let's start extracting some of that information from them. Starting off with the Bish, Martin Bishop. As I say, very good evening to you, Mark. Pro Stock Bike Racing, it's been a passion of yours for quite a while. And as I said back into the intro, I don't remember you riding anything else. What's the story with Pro Stock Bike and yourself?
Well, I love building my own engines and I love aspirated motors because I like the mechanical thing. And it's about building something that's perfect fit. Everything has to be in perfect harmony. You can't just wind a boost up or chuck another bucket of nitro in it. It's got to be about perfect engineering. And that is a bit that people don't know. That's the bit I really get off on. And I really enjoy building my own engines. And whether I win or not, if they go faster than I ever have done, I get something from that, a lot from that actually, and so do my crew. So that's where we're at with that.
So, Mark, it's all about the engineering. So have you actually considered any other class of racing at all?
No, I do gentleman drives with other things, with cars and that, but I really like, with the motorcycles, it's easier for competitive racing to go to and from a track rather than having, 20 crew, articulated lorry, etc. So it's easy with a motorcycle, but I can do what I want with the engine, and it's like it's a precision watch. That's what that is. I love the sound of a screaming engine, at 14,000 RPM. I can't explain it. It's a sound, it's a feeling, and when you've built it, and it becomes a living thing. So you've got a bucket of metal, and you've actually turned it into a living thing. That's the way I feel. The first time you fire up an engine that you've created, it's a great feeling. It really is, and it's as much as winning a race, really.
Yeah.
Something people have often said to me is, why doesn't Martin Bishop, go all out and try and win? And I think I'm going to let Martin say it in his own words. You kept a sort of fairly same level of production of your bike, your speed, your times, and I think you work within a certain budget, even though you do damage motors and that. But I think I'm safe to say you've got a definite view on that, Martin, haven't you?
I've been racing for many years. I've seen so many people remortgage their houses, and probably not even feed the kids so they can go racing. And for me, it's about there's a set level of return on enjoyment. If you exceed that cost, then where's the fun? You're going to come in and go, why did I waste 100 grand on that for 10 seconds of enjoyment? That's no fun, is it? Well, as a rule of fun, I'm generally come number 3. If you look at my average, that's where I'll be since I started. And we're really proud of that. We're the only team running an original engine. All the others are on billet pro stock motors that you plug and play. You go and buy it, you pay your 40 grand or whatever it is, and you stick it in a chassis. I could do that tomorrow. I could buy 10. It's not that. I would get nothing out of that whatsoever. And you go and win a £10 plastic trophy. I know everyone races for their own reasons. For me, I'm still competitive. I still beat 90% of the billet engines. I think that Pro Stock's lost its way a bit because it's not stock anymore. I'm the only one with a stock engine that's modified, literally, and competitive.
I've seen that for many years. I must just pick you up on one thing, Martin. I mean, I love you to death, but these £10 plastic trophies you're talking about, actually,
11.
How about if I give you a gold-plated £3,000 trophy? Do you think you could actually try and come number 2 next year?
Yeah, I'll melt it down and turn it into a ring or something.
Yeah, that's half the reason why I always say, whatever we do, some of the people deserve a good trophy, but there's a couple of car guys, and definitely the Bish, don't give him a good trophy. I'll never put it on the wall. I mean, if the viewers at home look, there's very few trophies hanging up there, though you've won many. Even the cheap ones, you melt them down. You didn't get where you was today, son, without melting trophies down.
No, they're in the other room, as you well know, but...
No, I don't know, Martin. I came there the other week and I couldn't see one. I saw some wooden plaques on the floor where there obviously was a trophy at one stage. But...
Yeah, it's a bigger picture. For me, it's a bigger picture. It's not just about that. I've seen competitors be miserable because they come second and not even have the diesel to go home. That's a fact, literally. And they have to win to get the prize money to pay to go home. That's a crazy situation to be in.
Well, you touch on that, and I see it all around the pits. You do see a lot of racers, be it UK or European racers, and you see the big rigs and everything like that, and you're like, God, these guys must be absolutely minted. Look at the trucks, and they've got the tow vehicle. When in real life, some of these guys go home to really small flats, probably a box with a little TV on, and racing is life. Racing is everything. They will put every bit of money into their race operation, and they don't care about real life. It's probably why drag racing causes so many divorces, let's be honest. My wife's half the time trying to kill me, let's be honest. Anyway, thrill seeker time. Let's head over to Dale Leeks. He's come to join us this weekend, and you are a top fuel rider. You recently went from the nitrous bike onto the turbo bike that we can just see there. How do you feel the transition has gone from there?
It's gone pretty well. Obviously, it was totally new to me. I think the only turbo I've ever had in my life was in probably a transit van. So going from nitrous to turbo was brand new. I couldn't have done it on my own. Obviously, I have a big team behind me. We've got the whole of Warp Speed Racing. And in conjunction with that, we paired up with Dan Wagner in the States, because I've seen so many people over the years trying to set up a turbo bike, building it from new, and I admire them. But the biggest problem is I've seen so many of them struggle for season upon season just to get it to go out of the gate. And the help from Dan in the States to just give us those settings, to just get us off of the line, really, really helped. Saying that, though, obviously, with working with somebody over in America and being over here, you can make small mistakes. And now the first pass I'd done on the turbo bike, I snapped the crank clean in half, a brand new crank, in about 2 seconds out. I'd been told to put in the red wastegate spring. And the company that supplies the wastegates had changed their chart over the years, and it fell just wrong. So what we were actually on was a hell of a lot more PSI than what we could ever imagine. There was no wonder that that I snapped the crankshaft in half. But Craney turned around to me. He's obviously just built his own turbo bike, which is coming out hopefully at some point this year if we can get on the track. And he turned around and he said, I'm glad you tested it first. You're a brilliant crash test dummy, really. I'll send you out there, monumental amounts of boost, and let's just see what happens and then work back from there. So, it's been great. I love nitrous oxide. We did really well on nitrous. We kept engines together, which is one of the main things to try and do with nitrous oxide. A lot of people are scared of it. But if you get it right and you respect it, you can get it to work really well. But the turbo, I mean, it's just something else. Where the nitrous ran out, the turbo's just still there trying to pull your arms off. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Tell you something else that we are absolutely loving, Dale. And like probably a lot of people, we've been following your Facebook feed on your new race truck. It really is an absolute work of art, but it is a stunning looking rig. Honestly, it's a full credit to you. Really, really like that. How are you finding it in your new home there at the track?
I absolutely love it. I mean, for quite a few years now, the main reason why I had to do it, we went for an exhibition. We got paid to go over to the Isle of Man TT to take the drag bikes and do some burnouts. So I put Mark Smith's, mine, Stuart Crane's, a load of advertising merchandise, all in my 7.5-ton lorry. We pulled into the docks in the Isle of Man, and a copper turned round and he said, "Excuse me, can you just go on the weighbridge?" So I pulled on the weighbridge, and he was like, "What are you booked in as?" I said, "Well, what do you mean? What am I booked in as? What weight are you booked in as?" I was like, "I don't know, 7.5 ton." He was like, "About 9.5 tons." So after that, I realised I snapped a leaf spring on Douglas Seafront. And I couldn't get one, and I had to drive it home. And I tell you, I like adrenaline. That was one of the scariest journeys of my life. But we got it home, but I decided I needed to go for an 18-tonner. And like a lot of people might think, well, he only goes racing a few times a year. It's a bit much. But what actually happens is, and as you can see now, I never take the bike out of the lorry. So we come home, and this is my workshop at home as well. So although it may look like, oh God, he's got a hell of a setup, this is my home workshop and my racetrack workshop at the same time. Well, the best thing about it is if I ever get kicked out, if she has enough of me and kicks me out, I've got somewhere to live as well. We've got 6 beds in the front, kitchen, sofa, TV, shower. I've lined it up that if it all goes wrong, I've got somewhere to live.
Don't say that, because I think Martin might be giving you a call after the show. He had a few moments when he's looking for somewhere to live. And the other thing, Darryl, it's interesting to hear you say you just love nitrous oxide. I can tell you Martin loves nitrous oxide as well. I'm just trying to persuade him to use it on the bike.
Now, Martin, something like that would be pretty handy for you to work in at the track, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a good setup. I mean, we like to get to international events super fast. So I've got a extra long wheelbase Iveco, and everything's got a place. So when we arrive, we build this village from the Iveco that you can do everything in. But we like to get back and to and from tracks quickly. So we've actually left Norway, for example, and got home before people have even got to Denmark.
We've actually left and got back before the others have even got round to the second round.
Yeah, is that, yeah. Yeah, most days, yeah.
Although, Martin, on a funny but serious note, although I agree with everything you said, you are that mobile, I do recall it's got some disadvantages when we get one of these freak mini tornadoes come through the pits. This is a true story, by the way, folks.
You couldn't make this up. So it was in Alastaro in Finland, and it happened twice at the same weekend. The tundra gets angry when it's 38, 40 degrees, and then 5 o'clock, this tornado and this biblical storm arrives, and we were literally past knee deep in water in the pits. My bike was on the stand and it was up to the clutch cover. And that happened in sort of half an hour, and all of our electrical equipment was wasted. We was getting electrocuted as we were trying to hold things down because the fridge was under. It was crazy, absolutely mad.
What about the time at SantaPod where your whole tent took off with that?
Yeah, I've actually had that twice.
It actually took off. It took off so high. You know, he mentioned that you can't even get a packet of crisps in his setup. Guess what? When his tent took up, there were crisps flying around. There were burgers. I've never seen so many burgers and crisps in the sky.
Yeah, I've had that twice where the marquee's literally taken off once years ago at Avon Park, which is funny story. It wasn't. It was a hot weekend, and was at the start line, and then the commentator stopped racing. Literally, we were at the start line, and the marquee, I kid you not, floated across the track right at the end. And it might have been when you was there running it, Keith, actually. And he stopped racing, but there's a marquee floating across the end, full marquee. And I said to my then crew chief, Pete, I bet that's ours, and it was. It was our marquee.
Do you know what Martin did? He took off. I tell you, I kid you not, it's probably the most outstanding things I've ever seen in pro stock. He left on the green. The marquee was just floating across the track. He kept his throttle on. He turned slightly into the right lane, lifted his left hand and caught the marquee. Yeah. And went through the finish line with the marquee in his left hand. And you know what? He still ran a 7:43.
Exactly. And that's as true as I'm riding this bike here.
It's all right because Keith said that we can drill him down into his tarmac next year and hold him down. He said,
touche, fair enough. I'm very keen for us to hear because everyone knows what they do at the track. They're both quite well known. They're very respected for what they do, but there is another life that's quite different to what they do in drag racing. And maybe we should see, I know at Martin's, I know a lot of what Martin does, and maybe Martin wants to start. I know your interest with your Lamborghini Owners Club has led to some very interesting activities. And
so I'm fortunate enough to own a nice car collection, and I gentleman race one of my Lamborghinis.
Can I stop you and say, what is a gentleman's race? I know what a gentleman's club is.
Okay, so a gentleman race.
Luke, have you heard the expression, would you like something for the weekend, sir?
Yeah. So a gentleman race is a race where there's no gentleman whatsoever, basically. So it's, do you know what? I don't even know what it is. They're called gentleman races, but I don't actually know. I don't know why it's called.
Let's not strippers in fancy cars then.
No. But they're pretty elite races. The Best of Italy race, which I've done twice, and I was the pace car for the racing motorcycles. So I was heading up some amazing guys on amazing bikes, which was just unbelievable. I got some great footage of that with the camera facing back. Just incredible. All through Castle della Quarto in Italy, up to Mafaso in the mountains, which is 27-kilometre closed road race, which is just great. That's been great. And I'm fortunate enough to do things like that. And there's some super cool people there, Jodie Kidd and a lot of pop stars. And the first year I beat a lot of full-on race Ferraris with slicks, GT3 cars with my road going Aventador. And the next year, so I phoned me out and said, you won't believe this, Ferrari have now entered the FX sectors because they were so pissed off that you beat their race cars in your Aventador. So, well, guess what? I beat them again.
Is there any truth, Martin, in the story? You know, when you were the pace car for the motorcycle race, that must be fantastic because it's probably the only motorcycle race you've ever won.
That isn't true.
Although, in fairness, Martin, perhaps people don't realise you have done circuit racing as well as drag racing with bikes.
Yeah, so I used to race Kawasaki's back in the day, H1Rs, TZ. I used to fall off quite a bit in those days, 2-3 times a year, and I ended up hurting myself pretty badly. And it got to the stage where surgeon, lucky, just managed to save this arm, and I broke my back. And he said, if you fall off again, you're going to lose your arm. So, and he didn't have the protection it had now. There was none of this body armour. It was just straight old levers. So I kind of gave it a swerve. And that's actually how I got into drag racing. So both of my brothers, they're older than me, and they built the hot rods and ran SantaPod. And I kind of got into it for that. This looks really cool. Perhaps I'll build a bike for this.
I think it's quite funny that you and I have got I got into drag racing because I did rallying, smashed a Mini Cooper S into a tree, broke my foot, damaged my leg. Like you, I've still got the injury now. And my girlfriend at the time took me to SantaPod. I had been before, but that's how I got into drag racing. I just couldn't, I decided I wasn't too good at rallying. So I same as you, I went into drag racing. But who would have ever thought 15 or 20 years later you would drive one-handed at 130 miles an hour with your complete marquee in your left hand? You are a star, Martin.
Yeah.
Now then, we're talking about marquees floating up in the sky, but sometimes if you do look up over the sky, you'll see our other guest, Dale Leeks, probably hanging around. Dale, bit of a thrill seeker pretty much everywhere these days, but stuff up in the sky. Tell us a little bit about that. You must have some cracking stories from paragliding, hang gliding, parachuting, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm just trying to find 101 ways to die. But actually, we were at a motorbike show. We were at a cocked-up motorbike show. I was standing there with Warp Speed Racing. One of these paramotors flew over. And I said to Craney, I was like, I'm going to get one of them. And he was like, don't be so stupid. I was like, I'm getting one. I tell you, I'll get one. 2 weeks later, I rang him up. I was like, I just bought one on eBay. He was like, what? One of them paramotors? And he said, well, you can't even fly one. I was like, oh, I'll suss it out. I've been on YouTube. I reckon I can do this. So I got the paramotor, which is a giant fan with a 2-stroke engine on, and a parachute, basically. Well, it's a wing, but let's just describe it as a parachute. So I got a parachute out of the bag, and it was just tangled lines and everything. I tried to make it out, and I was like, I'm really going to have to go and have a lesson. I'm not going to be able to work this out. I'm going to die. 6, 7 lessons. I was like, right, I'm going home now. I can get the rest of this off YouTube. So, I got flying, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, But the first wing I had, it was like flying an old bus. You couldn't hurt yourself on it. You couldn't do anything. You just slowly go around the corner. And it wasn't long before I needed to upgrade, got on the internet, bought a new wing, and this thing was super responsive. And I mean, I think I did my first rollover right away over the top of the canopy, completely by accident. On the drag bike, on the data logger, I hit about 3 Gs off the launch. I can get up to 5 Gs in a spiral down towards the ebb, tip her into a spiral. I can start to feel pretty tired, and my eyes start closing in if I don't come out of it early enough, and you get down to the ground, take your boots off, you can't put them back on, there's too much blood in your legs. And it's a buzz. But we went from that, and then I was like, whoa, I'd quite like to jump out of an aeroplane. And that was another one. I was like, I'm going to go jump out of a plane. So I went up to Beccles, where they've got a skydiving centre. I was like, what have I got to do? And they were like, we can do a tandem, so I don't really fancy being strapped to the front of some guy. Can I do it on my own? And they're like, well, let's do an accelerated freefall course. Went and done that. And most people pray for a nice clean opening parachute and everything like that. And I will be completely honest with you. Once you've done it a few times, you become so comfortable with it that it really, your heart's not beating. You're just getting up in the plane, jumping back out of it. It opens, you fly down to the ground. So I actually sometimes think, I don't want a bad canopy malfunction, but I'd like it to twist up and knot up a little bit. Maybe you have to cut me reserve and it'll open. And because 90% of the time they open. But I have to have a little bit of the fact in whatever activity I do that there is a chance I might possibly die, but if I take the correct action, it will stop it. And then I get that rush that makes me do the things that I do.
So what about something like a wingsuit or something like that? So obviously,
this is a difficult one. So I've done enough jumps now to qualify to fly a wingsuit. But the problem is I went base jumping. Now, base jumping is jumping off of a building, antenna, span, or earth. There is no reserve in base jumping. It is, it's got to go right. I went out to Croatia, I jumped from a bridge there. For instance, if I did nothing, I jumped off that bridge and I'd done nothing, in 4 seconds I would impact the ground. And we throw the parachute around about 3 seconds. It's a very dangerous activity, but if everything's done right, you've got a very good chance. And the adrenaline is high, really high. I mean, so the reason I haven't gone for the wingsuit is because the most dangerous sport in the world is base jump wingsuiting. And obviously, I had an addition to my family about 2.5 years ago. And it did change my outlook on things. I mean, you can't stop the person that I am and what makes me tick. But I've made a decision to stay away from the wingsuit because I think it probably would be the end.
Now, if you really want to really get an adrenaline rush, real genuine justice, absolute ultimate, and combine drag racing with it, I'll let you jump off the gantry. You'll have about 0.2 of a second to open everything.
I just want to go back to the racing just for a second, because this sort of typifies the craziness of your world. I want to take you back to the European Finals 2017. It was the rain-affected event. It absolutely chucked it down before the finals. You were in the final against your teammate, Stu. I think, if I remember rightly, Stu was broken, but we didn't know that at the time. As I say, it's chucking down the rain, Darryl and I in the commentary box, and all of a sudden we hear a bike start up, and you come up to the start line to take the event win. I mean, what on earth was going through your head for that one?
In a pouring rain. So what had actually happened was we made it through to the final, and the pass before, Stuart had also made it through to the final, but his bike burst into flames. It burnt down pretty badly. Now, we could have chucked a wire and loom in it and race against each other. But the real issue was the points decider was whether Stuart took the points win for the championship, or if I went out there and took the win, Rickard Gustafsson would win. Now, Rickard had been working really hard. His year had really come together with the fuel bike and everything was good. And Stuart turned around to me and he said, Dale, go down, speak to him, see if you can take the beans to take the win, because, you know, he would like to give it to Rickard. And that's why I went down there. So we took the official win with the bike, and then I took an unofficial win with my belly across the start line.
I was going to come to that. I mean, body surfing on a wet racetrack. I think there's there's some great photographs of that as well. But it was just crazy. I think
Darryl Bradford had turned around and said Frederick Fredland had just done the same thing. He took the bike and then he'd done it on his belly. I was like, I'm not being outsmarted by him. I'm going to do it.
Okay, so we're going to break away from our main guest this evening because, let's be honest, so many people have said it in the comments. We want the Junior Dragster drivers.
These guys finished second and third in the 2019 championship and obviously would have been looking to go a step further or two in this year's championship. But a massive welcome, firstly, to Archie. Wray. Archie, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, yeah, we're great. And welcome to the Santa podcast. And, of course, the one and only Frankster. Yeah, Frankie Fordham joins us as well. Frank, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, Colin. How's you?
Yeah, we're absolutely great. Now then, Luke and I got a few questions for you to contend with. Luke, do you want to hit him with the first one? Let's see how we get on.
Go on then. We'll start off with, it's going to be the obvious question. I'll aim it at you, Archie, first. And it's just, how did you get into junior drag racing?
So when I was younger, obviously my dad done racing with my brother for Old School Ford, and Emma worked in the office, so I was up here a lot. And when I was 3, I sat in Paige Wheeler's car. I said I wanted one when I was older. So that's the car I'm in now.
Perfect. And the self to you, Frankie.
So my grandparents helped build Stratford-upon-Avon back in the day, and so my dad used to go along. And so one day my dad took me to the European finals, and I was immediately hooked with the top field dragsters. My dad hopped me in a hired car, and so I had a couple of goes, and yeah, there's where I am now. So yeah.
So I'm going to throw this one to Frankie first on this one then. Frankie, your favourite memories from your time in drag racing? What's been your standout at the moment?
Because last year, actually, it was I was racing against Kate Wilson, and I had literally, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. But like, I remember the time, so I set off, and we were sort of side by side, but she pulled out a bit, but I managed to edge up. and get in front, and then she got in the front a bit. And I was like, I'm gonna have to work for this one. So I was pedaling to make sure I don't break out, and that was probably the best one I've ever had. And there's obviously been some memories that have just been phenomenal, but yeah, that one's my clear.
And what about you, Archie?
Mine was when in April on my first meeting, I got Jordan Payne, number 1 from last year, on the first race. I won, and then I beat Thomas Cook Abbott as well.
Well, that wasn't Jordan Payne's favourite memory, that's for sure. But you're going to pick your fights, pick them well. That's a good one.
Now, I'm going to ask a technical question. I'm going to ask it to you, Archie, just for a main reason, because I know it happened to you. But with the junior dragsters, when you're lining up on the start line, why do you line up off the groove, so on the part with the less glue?
That is my brother's decision, but he has said it's obviously because I'm in the stock, it struggles to get out of the glue.
And it kind of bit you in the bottom, didn't it, in Germany at Hockenheim, if I remember?
Yeah, because I got stuck.
I don't know if we have the footage of that, but I remember watching it because I was there, watching from the grandstand, and you were sat in the car, and obviously you've got the straps on as hard as you can, and all you can see is your head nodding forward as you're trying to edge the car. But physically, obviously, your crew cannot touch the car because you're in stage already. That's just showing people why they always start off the racing line.
Frankie, as there was a technical question there for Archie, I'm going to throw a social question at you. And I've got to touch on it because I think they've been absolutely hysterical. You and your dad doing these video clips. It's like lessons in life, isn't it? I mean, is this your dad getting his own back on you, or what's the story behind it? Because they are so funny.
Yeah, I just did some videos, and I thought, well, I kept on looking on the For You page, and I thought, well, these pranks do all right. So I looked at my dad one night, and I was like, Dad, we're gonna have to do something. I know we're not funny, but we're gonna have to try and do some pranks and stuff that we can do on each other. So. Well, I posted a couple of videos. Well, it was with the 2P, and that got over 200k likes on TikTok. So we started to do a bit more, and yeah, it's cool.
I think they are absolutely hysterical, and I'm sure we're going to see a few of those clips. But my favourite, I mean, it's got to be the invisible string one. I think
2, 3.
I really did like that one. That was top draw, mate. Top draw. Well done.
Now going back to the cars, you both started in Junior Dragster, and I'm sure your career will not end there. When you're old enough, what sort of class would you look to move into? I'll ask you, Archie, first.
When I'm older, I actually want to go into Pro Mod because it is my favourite class, and personally, I think it's the coolest.
It is true. It is true.
How about you, Frankie? Where would you like to see yourself ending up?
I'll probably go to the super comp to get used to the speed and that, because that's the main thing. See, the cars are powerful. I would love to go in top fuel. Yeah, if we got enough money, definitely top fuel. That'd be good.
You've got a door guy and you've got a dragster guy, so it's the best of both worlds. It really is. Right, let's talk about favourites then. Favourite classes, favourite racers, favourite cars. Archie, who's top of your list?
Definitely Pro Mod and Andy Robinson. I have his bonnet in my room from his crash, which is a reminder about racing and everything.
Oh, that is a real cool piece of memorabilia, because I know a lot of people were trying to get bits of that. That is really cool. How about you, Frankie? Your favourite class? I know you've sort of half into the top fuel, but what's your absolute favourite? Who's your favourite car in that?
So I love Nitro funny cars because they're so unpredictable. But you look at Jason Phelps; he only does 60 foot. So, and but my favourite, probably Liam Jones. I don't think Dad would appreciate me kicking my car and punching his van and that, but I don't know. I'll probably go Liam Jones.
Talking from last week's chat, I think you're probably a bit too tall for the funny cars.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the way they're you got to be short and dumpy. Yeah, but
Now, motorsport can be expensive, and when you leave school and maybe junior dragster, you're going to get yourself a job to pay for your racing because you can't expect your parents to pay for it forever. Now, what job are you going to look for to get to pay for your addiction to motorsport? Frankie first.
So I look at car restoration, and you look at Andy Robinson and other people, and they earn good money because obviously they're in pro mod, and that's a big thing. I would love to do car restoration, but in reality, I'll probably work for my dad and see where that goes.
I'd like to say they earn a lot of money, but I think it's a lot of hard work and dedication and putting in hours, and that's what motorsport is all about. But Archie, same for you. What do you want to do when you leave school?
I don't really know. I know I'd like to do something with either cars or race sport. At first, I'll probably work with my dad as well, because he has his own business with cars. So that's probably where I'm going to go first. But after that, who knows?
Well, we're never going to leave them out, are we? It's time for Junior Mug Off. Okay, let's see what these youngsters have got for us then. Archie. That looks like a football mug. What team?
Manchester City.
Yeah, okay, never mind. The Frankster, let's see yours.
Got two. One Mr. Cool and a picture on my car.
Well, the Mr. Cool isn't obviously your dad's mug, is it? So, guys, obviously with your racing, it does take all the help you can get from parents and that, but also sponsors are very important as well. Who would you like to thank for sponsoring your car? Frankie?
I've got a number of sponsors I'd love to thank. So I've got Royal Purple, EDF Motorsports, Corp. He designed the logo for 2020 or 2021, and Productive Design, which they did all the cars. And Mini Tracks and Shop Bowl. Shop Bowl helped produce the t-shirts.
Wow, brilliant stuff. Well done. And Archie, yourself, any sponsors you'd like to give a mention?
Obviously, my dad's business, Kedger Motorsport, Flat Out Competitions, and Phoenix Personnel.
Two professional John forces there, reeling off the sponsors. Well done, kids. Well, thank you very much for joining us this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Tell all the kids at home to watch the Santa podcast.
Look forward to seeing you back at the track in the not too distant future when we continue the battle down the 8th mile for you guys. Thanks ever so much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Well, that was a great insight to what we will call the prospect of future drag racing. We're going to head back over to our main guest this Friday night. Martin, so we've talked about the Pro Stock bike, and I'm sure you've been looking across the pits at the Super Street bikes as they get quicker and quicker. Does that ever tempt you? Would you ever move over to Super Street bike?
No, I wouldn't. It's not for me. I like the hit. I mean, we pulled 3Gs on the hit. Super Street bike's got street tyres on. From what I've been told from Super Street riders that have tried Pro Stock, they couldn't believe how aggressive a Pro Stock bike was because, Super Street bikes they are running the same ETs and they're running actually faster terminal, but they're not getting the hit and that pure aggression and that you get on a Pro Stock bike. And I like that. And again, as I said earlier, I like aspirated engines. So that would basically rule them out for a number of reasons for me. However, I have been thinking about maybe building a streetcar twin turbo Lambo.
Cool.
I'm speaking to a power line about that, and they produce huge power.
Yeah.
And 4-wheel drive. So that if I was going to change classes, it would be for that.
Nice. We like an exclusive like that. And I'm sure you probably followed the door slammers over the years. Jürgen Valens from JM Imports, he's been running the twin-turbo Lamborghini in the real street class.
Yeah.
He's been trying to get that into the 8-second class. So there is that option there for you. If you do that, you can try and go for the first 8-second Lamborghini in the UK.
Yeah, that would be the aim. And I'm pretty confident that we can make that happen. And I think I could transfer a lot of my knowledge over. Yep. So you can take engineering from one sport and take it to another, or from one class and take it to another. But I've not finished with Pro Stock. We found some more power last year with stuff I hadn't tried, a lot more power. And so I think we can squeeze some big numbers out of my original engine Pro Stock bike. So we was really gutted that we couldn't race this year because we wanted to try it. I want to have the fastest original engine pro-stock bike in the world. That's what I want to have.
Dale, same sort of question to you, really. I mean, obviously we've switched power plants, to say, in the bike, but what about switching code? Would you go to four wheels at all? Maybe, I don't know, a pro mod, a nitro funny car? What would float your boat in the world of drag racing apart from the bike?
Absolutely, it'd have to be crazy. I've often thought about it, and I'd quite like the chance to. I'd love to drive a funny car. To me, they are the ultimate drag machine. You know, short wheelbase, sketchy as hell, all over the track. You've got the chance for the body to blow off, it be in flames. It suits me to the ground. I'd love a funny car, but I have spoke over the last 2 years with Theobald about when he fancies retiring and finishing up that I would like to have talks with him about the rocket bike, because I'd love to run that bike. I would love to be the next man who sits on that.
I was literally just thinking, as the thrill seeker you are, that is kind of, that one point is where Dale Leeks could go, is onto a rocket bike.
Maybe take off with it after the country.
Thank you. That was interesting what you both said. Martin, I know you've spoken about this before. I would love to see you do that with a Lamborghini, and that's the sort of challenge you would enjoy.
Yeah, would.
I think everyone in drag racing would find that very, very interesting.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting for me. Although previously I said, I like aspirated motors. I mean, I could build a 1,000 horsepower aspirated Lamborghini. I know I could do that. But obviously you're going to have to strap some turbos on it to keep up with the street boys. And they're doing that, and they're very successful. In the States, they're super quick.
I think that would be great. Yeah. What do our two presenters think of that then as a class?
Yes, please, bring it on. That'll do nicely for door slammers. What do you reckon, Luke?
That'd be perfect. Or if he keeps it on street tyres, street eliminator.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that I like even more.
And actually, I think that I've got really good contacts in Lamborghini. I think I could actually pick up factory support as well. I'm pretty sure of that.
I could see it now. Keith Bartlett in the ex-John Webster Comet versus Martin Bishop.
That's it.
That would be fantastic.
That's a closed-door booking for you two at the track then, is it?
Yeah. We could actually ask for the promoter to give us some money, Martin.
No, he'll never do that. Have you seen him?
Yeah. I'll have you know, not a lot of people know this, but he has paid out before.
So, Martin, you were talking obviously about this Lamborghini that would be road legal, and you're talking about gentlemen's races. Have you ever looked to America with stuff like Cannonball? Because that is re-emerging a lot at the moment. And over the past 7 months, I think the record has been beaten about 7 times, although someone did it during lockdown. So I think that time will probably never be beaten in the future.
We did a trial run a couple of years back across Spain. The roads are phenomenal. We were hitting big numbers every single day. It was great. So we're going to try and do that.
Talking about nice roads, if it wasn't for this corona, we would have been a few of friends would have been going to Wörthersee in Austria for a VW show. On the way back, we would have done the Stelvio Pass. We were looking forward to. Is there any sort of roads that you've done on your road trips that would stand out that you want to tell everyone to do? Yeah,
we found some amazing roads on a Spanish trip. Like, honest to God, some of the mountain passes, we actually stopped. We was all feeling physically sick because there were so many beautiful bends. It was just second and third gears, like bah, 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 boom, boom, boom. It was awesome. Literally, we stopped because we radioed between cars. I was like, I feel sick. We've got to stop. I said, I don't feel well. It was that much. It was just constant. And the straights there, and the road surface is like a racetrack. It's amazing. And the peninsula is stunning. The backdrops are just phenomenal. And then, you've got beautiful, we stayed in the Parador hotels, which are the old palaces of Spain, and they're relatively inexpensive, actually. They're staying in medieval castles, all the way, and it's just stunning.
Before you brush past that, the adrenaline rush doing, obviously, those sort of speeds on the road, how does that compare to maybe riding your bike on the track?
Well, the Best of Italy races, the first one there, I clocked 196 down the straight. Well, it's a 2-lane road and it's bumpy as hell. My car was getting airborne. And before the race, I said to Enzo, I said, you know what, I could hit 230 down there. If someone's going to die, it's going to be there. It's not going to be on the mountain section, West Twisty, because you're just going to go too fast and the road's not level. It's a road. And the camera flies through the cockpit at the end of it. And I had to back off because, there's trees. You're going to die. There's trees, sheer drops. There's no runoff. That adrenaline is pretty mad, actually. Because these cars are super fast, but the grip, cornering, all of it, the braking's phenomenal. Make your fillings fall out on the braking alarm. It's just great. The whole package is great. They sound amazing. Spit flames, everything you want to do. And then you can drive back to the hotel and have a beer, put your CD on.
Martin,
no downside.
You say that, I know you've done those, Martin. I think a few years ago I drove in the Gumball Rally, the Gumball 3000 Rally, and I had a Toyota, which was a very fast, an MR2, really done up. We had dump valves in it, everything. And I actually got on that particular one, Ruby Wax was on it, several others, and I got the accolade of getting the biggest find. It all went through Scandinavia, Russia, Poland. But when we went through Russia, you actually got stopped by the police. You just wound the window around, gave them dollars, and off you went again. So you could drive at 200 miles an hour, but you got stopped, paid off, and kept going. I'm not saying it's the same now, but that's how it was then. Unlike Spain, where I think it's a slightly lower level.
Yeah, I mean, France now and a lot of the other countries, if you get caught doing big numbers, then you're probably going to crush your car.
Yeah.
And they'll fine you on your means. It'll be a percentage of your earnings, and it's a high percentage. I mean, I've been on one of the rallies we did. There's really super wealthy guys. They're billionaires and that. And then they were seeing who could actually get the highest fine. Literally, there was a quite funny thing in the bar. Who's got the highest fine of the day? That's crazy.
How the other half of drag racing lives.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, there's one area that we sort of didn't really go into depth on. I just want to go back a little bit, and that is, how can we put this? Injuries. Now, Martin, you were saying that obviously with your arm that you've injured, and yet you talk about going on a pro stock bike. You like the hit. So basically, you're going to be thrown backwards as hard as you possibly can, trying to stretch that arm even more. Dale, you damaged legs and goodness knows what. But guys, injuries. Martin, it obviously hasn't deterred you from going stupidly fast on a bike, but surely you've got to be a little bit cautious, haven't you?
No, you're not cautious. It's interesting listening to Dale, actually. We're kind of like kindled spirits. I actually wanted to do a base jump, but I can't because I've also smashed both ankles to pieces, which is as big a mess as my arm is. I wouldn't be able to land, literally, if just walking hurts. But my bike actually does, it's painful to ride. They're the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Dale will probably tell you the same. I'm pretty sure yours is. I mean, you've got to dislocate your legs to get over the square section C. And you literally, when you get off, you're physically hurting your back, your arms, everything's like, oh, God. And literally, you're in pain. They're not comfortable. They're not Bentley, that's for sure.
And what about you, Dale? I mean, obviously your legs are taking a pounding literally everywhere you go these days, be it landing, be it obviously base jumping, riding the bike. Any concerns? Obviously not.
I've had a lot of injuries. I've since about the age of, I think I broke my first bone at about 4 years old. Had a motorbike at 4 years old, and I kept snapping bones. But we actually had to go and get me tested at one point because the doctor had said I broke so many bones. I wanted to test the strength of my bones because I thought I had weak bones. I was just crazy as a kid. But I broke 21 bones. I'm 36 years old and I broke 21 bones. And I don't regret any of them, really. I mean, they're all memories, aren't they? Every single one of them is a memory. And they do, and I really do mean that. I mean, probably the worst one I've done, I didn't break my neck, I fractured my neck. But it caused me quite a lot of problems. I couldn't speak for 9 months. I stuttered so badly from the injury to my head. And everybody's like, why do you continue to do the things that you do? And I'm like, you can't remove the person from the car just because you had an injury. And does it scare you more? Or does it? No, all it does is that when I get up in the mornings in the winter, I feel about 50 years older than I am, and I really do. I mean, but do I regret them? Do I go easier because I've done things? Definitely not. Definitely not. I can't, snapping a bone. The only reason I don't have a cast on now is because the government has locked me down. I'm not allowed to do anything. So that is why we don't have any snapped bones, no flesh, nothing. It's everything's good, and I've never felt so healthy.
Now, a great thing about the world of drag racing that you get all sorts of people coming in to see what it's all about. And Dale, you've had quite an interesting experience, shall we say, with one of the guys that's very well known, of course, Guy Martin. What was the story behind that one?
Yeah, basically, it was Ian King's operation that they were doing a series on speed with Guy Martin, and he was going to ride a bobsled down, try and break a record on this bobsled. And so Ian got in contact with Warp Speed Racing and said, would you bring the bikes along? Because we want him to be able to ride one of the bikes as part of the series. So we had SantaPod for the day, and Guy turned up. What you see of that man on the TV is exactly how he is. And then because we got old, the bottom ends of these bikes are old school. He loves it, the engineering. It took about an hour and a half before they could even record anything with him, and he was an hour and a half late. So they spoke about the top fuel bike, and the plan was he was going to ride mine. I think as riders, we all forget what progression we've made along the years to get to where we have, and we go, well, you just get on it and you throw the clutch, or you just get on it and drop a button. But even to Guy Martin, it was quite daunting for him to wrap a throttle completely around, and when you drop that button, that bike's going to leave. And he said, no, I don't want to ride this one. Can I ride the one with the clutch? And we're like, you're still going to have to do the same thing, but you're going to have to throw the lever. And as much as you told him what to do, he wrapped that throttle around, and he feathered and destroyed that clutch on the way out the gate. And I mean, no disrespect to him. He didn't know what that machine was going to do, and he respected it for what it was. But he wouldn't take the hit. And and that was a prime example to us of really what we forget, how long we've come along to get to where we are.
No, pretty good there. I mean, Mark, the same question has got to apply to you. You must have had some very, shall we say, not from the world of drag racing, people that you've entertained at the track or you've shown the machinery to. I mean, you must have some cracking stories from people outside the world of drag racing.
Yeah, I'd say I'm fortunate I've met, and I know Giacomo Agostini, most famous man in Italy. I met through my car racing. He's a really, really nice guy, very friendly, really into his bikes, and he's still got his original MVs. Outside of racing, also I play tennis quite a lot. I go abroad and play that twice a year. Not been able to this year. We've cancelled 2 tournaments. And you meet really cool people again with that. Same with my cars and my bikes. I've met so many interesting people over the course of my racing career. It's been really interesting in listening to Dale because I was the same as you as a kid. I used to really bad actually. When I look back at my life, and I can't believe I'm still alive. But at 7, I used to dodge trains, which obviously I'm not condoning. You look back and think, what? But that's what I used to do with my friend. He died. I carried on doing that for my own entertainment. There wasn't even anyone to watch. That's the stupidity of me. And even, more recently, I take chicken legs off the barbecue to feed them to the sharks and then get reprimanded to that. I'm an old guy now. I still do that stupid stuff. And you look at something and you think, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I'll live. And it's interesting listening to you, Dad. It's exactly the same. My brain.
Are you telling me that when I get to your age, I'll still have a little bit of it left? It'll still be, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go out backwards through the pearly gates in a flaming Lamborghini or something, or great whites locked onto my head. I don't know. I'd like to.
You're not going to be that lucky. I always say that. I do all these crazy things and all of that. I'm probably going to trip over and give myself a hemorrhage or something. It's going to be really, really boring the way that I die, and that's going to piss me off more than anything. I want to be like, boom, gone, and it's not going to be that flamboyant, is it? It's going to be real crap.
You're dead right. Someone bought me a book actually. It's like that weird coincidence, and this guy had gone over the Niagara Falls twice in a beer barrel, and he actually slipped on a banana skin and broke his neck and died.
Yeah,
you can't make that stuff up.
That's it.
Say that it's exactly the same as what happened with Slamming Sammy Miller. We all know him for doing the rocket car, and then a simple accident at work is what killed him.
I think you're more likely to actually have those injuries that might kill you when you're outside of the activities that everybody thinks will kill you. Base jumping, I jump off of a mountain. I've got a parachute. It's been packed meticulously so that it will open. I've done everything in my power that when I leap off the top of that mountain or that bridge, that I am going to survive. I'm rolling the dice, but I've done everything. Parachuting, I have a reserve. If I knock myself out on the way out of the plane, I have an AAD that at 800 foot, it will fire the parachute itself and says, this nut job's not going to throw it, I'm going to do it for him. With the bikes, we have paramedics there waiting for us, and then the safety crew at SantaPod, everything. I mean, I've seen accidents at SantaPod and the guys are there. That doesn't happen outside of our world of craziness. That actually makes the activities that we do a lot safer than crossing the road and getting hit by a bus.
Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't think of that, but yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Now, Dale, we can't have you on the show without talking about your national fame in the media. You know where we're going. You're obviously locked down at home with your fiancée, and your usual fun and antics have kind of come slow. But why don't you tell us about trying to sell your wife and all the other pranks that you have between each other?
Yeah, I mean, that spiraled out of control. I try a lot of things to get my world fame. We race bikes and jump off the mountain. And the one thing that spread me across this earth was advertising my girlfriend on eBay. And it literally, I don't know, she pissed me off with I think she hit me in a shop with a horsewhip or something. I was like, oh, I got home, I was laying on the bed, I think she was in the shower, we were going out for dinner, and I just thought, I'll go on eBay, I'm going to advertise it on eBay, and I described her as an old car. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like, it fires up, it whines a lot, and the whining doesn't seem to go away, even once it's warmed up around for quite a while, all of this sort of stuff. It looks good from a distance, but if you look up close, you can see that it is 30-odd years old, all of this sort of stuff, and I put it on there, and I was like, have that. So we went out for dinner. I didn't even tell her. We went out for dinner, and my phone in my pocket was just going ding, 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 eBay notifications. I kept getting out, and I was like, oh, shit. It got up to like 76,000. So the highest bidder I did find out was Mark Smith. So he was trying to buy her. But so anyway, eBay pulled it down. It was against their regulation. Apparently, you're not allowed to sell human beings or body parts. So I was like, all right. Anyway, thought nothing of it. It's done, dusted. People shared it on Facebook. And then the weeks that followed after that, I was having newspapers ringing me up from New York, Canada. If you Google Dale Leeks, the first thing that comes up is Dale Mansell's girlfriend on eBay. And then you'll get YouTube videos of them presenting it in Indian and things like that. It's just like Dale Leeks, Dale Leeks. But yeah, it was good fun. She don't care. You can't be with somebody like me if you really care too much. It's not going to last long.
Yeah, was a question. Did she think she was worth more than the highest bidder, or did she think it was a good price?
Of course she did. They all think they're worth more than the highest bid. But one of the best ones was when I got interviewed about it. The interviewer said, if it had come to the crunch, would you have sold her? And I turned around and said, well, I mean, it'd been sad to see her go, but it's a whole lot better to be sad and cry on the steering wheel of your Ferrari than it is on your Ford Fiesta. So,
well, you obviously weren't that concerned about not selling her because I don't think you set a reserve, did you?
No reserve. Let it go. When you got something to sell, you don't know what the value is until you put it on there and just stick it on.
Martin, I hope you're listening to this.
Well, yeah, no, I value my life.
Whilst we're slaughtering you on this one, we've got to talk about your internet singing career.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of fun. I drive around the country a lot for work. I'm constantly on the road. I've got my headphones in, and really it is my own little recording studio in there. I mean, if you need to pass a lot of miles, you've got to do something. And Mark Smith is the bane of mine and Stuart Crane's life. Obviously, he will wreck anything mechanical. You give it to him and you send him down the track and he's like, no, it sounds good, it sounds good. I held it on and we hear it going from 4 cylinders, 3 cylinders, 2, dead. It was like, sounded all right up until the point it stopped. So I did a little song about it and it got a little bit of a laugh.
Let it go. And I've been, as a guest presenter, I've been allowed to do the mug off this year, which is quite good because I started it anyway. But as I'll start with myself. As we know, the buzzword seems to be now SantaPodcast. So I thought the mug off should do justice to the show. So that's my mug off for this week. And perhaps I should go to our guests first. I'll start with Martin. I hope you're able to join the mug off competition.
I am indeed, but I hope you get this one. So you'll all know this one if you race. Okay?
Love it. Come a bit closer. Yeah.
But there's more. It's a double ender. Okay. So when the flag stops, the bullshit starts.
Like it. And now you must have something. I mean, no doubt yours will be in the shape of a skydiver or something cut. But
well, you've got a part of it right. It begins with the word Sky. My little daughter Sky is on my cup, and it's the one little girl that keeps me alive. And we were talking about it earlier. She stops. She stops the bar. So that's what it is.
Come on then, Luke. What you got?
Right. Well, I've dug one out of the crates, and it is a VWDRC mug from our 21st anniversary many, many moons ago.
For the winner. Here we go. You remember this one from last week? How about that for an upgrade, eh? Look at that.
Love it.
Is that your gravy pourer?
It could well be that Mr. Colin Theobald has got the winner. But,
yes.
Okay, before I hand back to you, our two presenters to close the show, I'll take this opportunity to thank Martin and Dal. Thanks very much for being on the show. You were as entertaining as I both knew you would be, and I'm sure Colin and Luke have got a similar thing to say.
As we come to the end of the show, thank you guys, and thank you to everybody who has left comments on the YouTube channel of the races you want to see, or the riders, because a lot of people will say, where are the riders? Well, here we go. Two of the great riders from our lovely Isle of the UK. So next week, who do we want to see? Well, put them in the comments again. You'll never know who we get on there. First of all, hit subscribe button, and over to you, Colin.
Yeah, got to say, to the Bish and to Lightning Leeks, thank you ever so much indeed. Two cracking guests, and great to hear some of the stories from outside of the world of drag racing. All I can say to you guys is, don't go falling off things. Don't go breaking things. We do want to see you back at the track on 2 wheels, not being stretched off somewhere because you've broken more bones. But look after yourself, guys, definitely.
You too, guys. Thanks for all your hard work. It's fun. See you soon.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you all again next week on the Santa Podcast. Don't forget, 7 o'clock Friday night, Luke and I will be chatting to more guests, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Take it steady. Cheers.
Don't put that in.
Tough and Craney had to work off the night. Smithy done a pass and put a rod right out the side. The valves and pistons were all smashing up inside. Smithy held it on, said it sounded alright. Don't let Crane in, don't let him see. Make something up and tell him it happened electrically. Concealed, don't feel, don't he knows. He's gonna blow. Why didn't you let it go? Let it go. Why'd you hold it back the full pass? Let it go, before the rod comes out its ass. You don't care, 'cause you don't have to build another one. Me and Crane don't like sleep anyway.